Okay, so let's go over a couple painting rules. First thing is when we have our palettes, we need to remember that we're sharing with other people. So as we go through on this, what you need to do is if you're using, say, your yellow is really dirty. As you can see, this white here doesn't look a lot of, nice, crisp white. Is you can get a paper towel and you can get it, half wet. And I usually just put my finger in it or wrap it around for a minute and clean that palette, okay? So most of the time I like to have the first class come in and, get it nice and clean and organized and leave it that way at the end of class too. So this, you just kind of wipe it around and then you take the dry side and you wipe that off and it gets it nice and clean. So I might need to, my paper towel got a little dry for a minute here, but if I got it a little bit more wet, say I dipped it in this, you can see how much more it just takes it off. Now I don't recommend dipping it in your water, just get it wet at the sink. I just did it for the purposes of this video. Okay, so as you get it, it gets a lot cleaner and cleaner the more you do so. But you want to be able to have your palette looking nice for everybody at your table. So how do you mix colors? Well, in order to get purple, you need to mix red and blue. If you want to make orange, which is not on here, you're going to mix yellow with a little bit of red. So with our paint, you want to remember we're not ever mixing here. Okay, you always want to mix on your paper. So using my brush, I'm going to wipe it on the inside. That way my table stays dry and I don't tap on anybody else's. And I just gently grab my paint. Notice I'm not going in circles like this. I'm just gently going back and forth. That's what helps our paintbrushes live a long time. So as I paint, remember ballerina toes, here is my pretty yellow. To remember also, you always want to rinse your brush and do so before you get another color. I'm going to grab some red and I'm just going to do 2 or 3 little wipes. And when I put my red on there, it's really dark. But look, I can blend it. And blending is when you mix. Now if you mix it too rough on your paper, you're going to start ripping the paper, which this tray had some paper bits on it. But this is nice and wet, as you can see. And you don't want to do too rough with your brush because then it's going to rip through the back of your paper. And you'll see little bits coming up on that too. So if you look at this and go, that is way too red for me, you can go back and get a little bit of yellow and paint over it, and now it's a brighter orange. Pretty cool, right? So that is how you mix colors. You never want to mix them in the paint tray. You always want to wipe your paintbrush like this, and then I showed you how to clean it. So today, let's talk about one last thing. You want to make sure that you're grabbing the paint and using it the right way. If my paintbrush is really dry and I want to paint with the blue, and I start painting like this, well, you can see my paintbrush is nice and wet. But let's see here. Okay, so now, do you see all these dry marks on here? This is usually when I see somebody goes like this, like crazy, and over 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 again. Well, now the brush, the hair is breaking, and then also it's not doing anything, is it? I paint, I paint, I paint. It's not working. You need to use water. So see how my brush is telling me, oh no, I'm so dry. You just gently dip your brush in the water. Look, the paintbrush hair went back together. And watch what happens. When I put the water over my paint, it moves it. It blends it so pretty. So if I want to make areas darker, I don't need to grab a lot of paint. I just gently grab it and paint over it and see how it's darker here. I can go back again, get a little bit more, and go nice and gentle. If I need my paintbrush to grab a little bit more paint, I can do that too. But if you're going really rough and your paint is dry and you're pushing the brush too much down, look what happens to your paper. It's ripping the paper, and then look at your paintbrush. That is not what we want to do. So painting should be very easy. It should not have anything of our paint, like papers, coming off. So I'll show you one more time. You don't want that. You want something nice like this. So if I get my brush wet, and I grab my paint only a couple times, and I paint it gently. Just like this, back and forth, back and forth. I could go back and grab a little bit more paint and paint that over it. And see how dark it is? I could dip my brush in, and I can smooth it even more out. And I won't hurt my paper. Right now you can see little bits of paper because it was stuck on my paintbrush. So if I wanted to make this a darker purple, I rinse my brush and I grab a little bit of blue, and I could put the blue on top. And now, as I do it gently, I made a darker purple. So you mix colors on your paper, and you use water to make the brush happy, okay?